Hello everybody, and I just want to talk about how I prepared for my move to Ghana. I spent the last several years making plans for this move. I watched every single video I could find. I looked at the people who went to Ghana and left, the ones who were happy with their moves and the ones who were not. I looked at how they made their decisions, and I analyzed each situation to determine what could have been the cause for their success or not. And I decided that I would come to visit Ghana first. You know, everybody was talking about how peaceful and warm and friendly and safe Ghana is. I kind of thought that I would fall on the ground and weep and be overwhelmed emotionally, but I wasn't. Well, that's not my personality anyway. But I did experience the peace and the calm and the sense of safety that everybody talks about is prevalent in Ghana. When I came to Ghana, though, it was because I had planned to come and visit. I didn't go there initially planning to make any drastic move. I just wanted to sense the country, to see if Ghana is somewhere that I felt I could be permanently and be happy and comfortable. While I was there, I visited the regular tourist sites. And I met with a realtor because I wanted to go around and visit some of the towns that I had seen people talk about on YouTube, to see where I wanted to live, to see what the cost of living was in each place and the environment. And I knew I wanted to live somewhere close to Tema. I knew that. My bracelet is making a bunch of noise on the table. I knew I wanted to live somewhere close to Tema. I wanted to be close enough to the airport. So I looked at some properties, some rental properties, and I looked at one new build that was under construction. And to be honest, I loved everything that I saw, but I decided to wait until I came home to make a decision. Now, I'm a Gemini, and I have the tendency to be impulsive. But I would like to think I have matured quite a bit in my life to where I enjoy the impulsivity, the rush of emotions, and then the logical part of me says, okay, let's see if this will work out the way you think it will. And so I get into planning mode, into organizing mode, because that's also a part of my character. After I got home from my visit, which was just a couple of months ago, I sat down and started to strategize. I started looking at, I like putting things on paper. So I got paper and pen and I said, okay, this is how much it's gonna cost me to rent. This is how much it's probably gonna cost me estimating for utilities. This is how much I believe I would be able to live on for food. And this is how much extra money I think I would need in case I wanted to go somewhere to pay for travel and attend some events and whatever. In essence, what I did was I created a point-by-point plan of how I could execute my life in Ghana to where it was comfortable and I wouldn't find myself in a bind. I talked to my children and they had questions and some concerns. And one of the things my daughter told me that I didn't initially include was that I should set aside a certain amount of money as an emergency fund in case at any time I needed to come home at the drop of a hat. And so that was then added into my planning. One of the things I noticed from watching all the videos is that in my estimation, most of the people, and I say most, not everybody because things happen, but most of the people who went to Ghana and had to leave and who were disgruntled or dissatisfied missed a few steps in their planning. I don't think that they planned for every contingency that could possibly come up. So it was easy to, feel dissatisfied and say, oh, Ghana is not for me, Ghana is not good, etc., etc. Once I got home and I started doing my planning on paper, I started reaching out to people, asking questions. What is it going to take? What is the first step I need to make? What should I consider? And one of the things I did is I started calling shipping companies, because at first my impulsive side thought, oh, I've got to take this to Ghana, I've got to take that. I'm going to need to ship about 5 big boxes and etc. And then I sat down and I thought, wait a minute, I don't need to take these things to Ghana. Now, I don't have household furniture, and that's not a problem because the apartment that I secured is furnished. So all I would need is my clothes, and I was going to bring a bunch of things that I thought I needed because they were sentimental to me. So I said, nah, I don't need to take anything to Ghana. All I need is my clothes and probably 1 box of valuable, sentimental things. So I started going through all my clothes, going through storage bins. I had winter clothes, I had boots, I had some gowns. And I thought about bringing my gowns, but I was like, I don't need these gowns because, number one, I'm not sure they fit anymore. And number two, if I'm gonna attend any event in Ghana, I probably want to dress traditionally. So I started laying out clothes from my closet, from my bins, and sorting them out, washing what I needed to wash, packed them up, and I took them to a donation center. I have a few sentimental things, like some dishes, a little set of dishes and stuff. I said, you know what, I'm going to take those because I'm going to still need to eat, and I don't necessarily want to go to Ghana and start buying everything. Long story short, another thing I did was I determined that although I can see myself comfortable financially, I would prefer to have a little excess in my daily finances just in case I want to do something out of the box. So I started making moves to garner some additional income so that I can have extra money while I'm in Ghana and not be in a bind should something come up that I don't expect. And back again to the videos that I watched, what I learned from them, because I analyzed everything. I wanted to watch all of the videos to compare, and also to hear the good and to hear the bad, and run it through my head to make sure that I considered every possibility. And I think poor planning was a big part of the people who were not successful in the move. I came across some very important things. I'm a woman of a certain age, and there are certain things medically that I need to keep on top of. Thank God I'm in very good health. But, every so often I have to check my female parts, and I have to keep up with my skeletal health, so my doctor wants labs done every so often, and my eyes to be checked, and all those kind of things. So what I did was I started planning a way to move all of my recurring appointments to 1 month. I did that also because one of our concerns, my children's and myself, was the fact that I'm leaving my grandchildren, who I am supremely close to. Although the adult kids didn't want me to leave, but they were like, but the grandkids are not going to see you. And that was a concern of mine, because when I first thought about moving to Ghana from the very beginning, one of the things that delayed my leaving was the fact that I was going to be leaving my grandkids. But after running it through my logical system, I said, you know what? The children and I do video callings. I don't see them every day anyway. We can continue that, and I can make a plan to be home at least once a year to spend family time. So back to the scheduling appointments. So I figured that if I could put all of my doctor's appointments and any other important thing I need to take care of to 1 month, I can come home during that month, and I can also get to spend time with the grandchildren, you know, and bond and all of that, all during that time. Because realistically, which I was originally saying, oh, I'll come home about once or twice a year, and one of my sons was like, yeah, you're saying that now, but stuff will happen, you probably won't come. So my way of mitigating that was to ensure that I had to come. I have to come for my doctor's appointments because that's important to me. Seeing my grandchildren is important to me as well. So I figured if I combined both of them, I could set that time aside to come home, and that addressed that concern that everybody had. I still have to figure out one or two things. How I will make my banking work, for instance. And I definitely will have a plan in place for that before I leave the US. One thing that makes me comfortable about leaving or making any big major decision is my faith. A lot of people wish and desire for things and pray for things and expect the God that they're praying to be a genie. That they rub some kind of lamp in their prayer and boom, the genie would show up and grant all of their wishes. My faith works differently. My faith is exercised when I have done everything that I could possibly do. When I have put all of the effort I can in place, when I have addressed all of the contingencies that I can, and there's absolutely nothing missing for me to do, then I trust my Creator that I know loves me intrinsically and beyond comprehension to reach me where my arms are short. And what I mean by that is that my faith tells me that after I have done everything that I can do, God, the universe, source, will do for me the things that I cannot do. That makes it easy when the outcome does not show up the way I imagined. If it shows up in a wonderful way, I am joyful. And if it doesn't, I understand that the challenge is for my learning and for my growth. And so I embrace it. That's how my faith works. So, having said all of that, I'm going to wrap up by saying, I hope that anyone watching this video who may have missed a step in considering their plan to move to Ghana, to stay in Ghana, or not, either one, they'd be able to implement any step that they recognize that they may have missed in order to make their decision one that they are happy with. So, much love. See you in Ghana.